This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by WBO Super Featherweight World Champion Jamel Herring over Zoom. Jamel, firstly, congratulations on your victory this past weekend.
Thank you.
Take me back to it. You know, how does it feel to obviously to retain your title?
Oh, that's the first and foremost goal is always to retain the title. So, I feel good. I feel great. I'm happy. And still, that's the the greatest phrase you can hear as a champion. So I'm happy. I'm happy.
Jamel, heading into that fight, many saw it as kind of a closer fight than what it ended up being. You know, certainly in the bookies had it as maybe closer to a 50-50 fight. In the end, you was relatively comfortable throughout. How did you feel in there? Take me back to Saturday night.
Um, you know, I was just confident in myself. So I felt great, going into the fight, even with all the postponements and everything. I just felt it was my time. It was my moment. And for the most part, I felt like I had a lot of redeeming to do. So, I was very, motivated going into the fight.
Obviously, we know what's happened, you know, with the fight having happened now, but just take me back to kind of before it. What was the initial game plan that you had set out with your team?
The initial game plan was to just box, be smart. As you can see from the early rounds, to use my all my physical attributes, the height, the range. But we also had a plan in case he got on the inside, which you've seen as well. So we basically covered everything. We covered everything, and as you all witnessed, it showed. Even when I got cut and everything like that of that nature, I didn't fold under pressure, and I just remained, calm, cool, and collective, and I ended up getting the W.
Jamal, I believe pretty much everybody had you winning that fight comfortably, up obviously up until the point of a stoppage, even without dropping Carl. With that in mind, on the couple of occasions when he did get in close and when you both traded, you seemed like even when he would land on you, you was not just landing back, but you seemed to physically be hurting Carl. You could see you was like maybe pushing back a bit. Could you feel that? Did you think he was feeling your power a lot more than what maybe he anticipated?
Oh yeah, I definitely just reading his facial expressions at times, and the body language. The body language definitely showed that I was definitely being effective, and getting my shots off. And like I said, even on the inside, you could see I was shooting, like they say, shooting and and catching, catching and shooting. So every time he had something for me, my trainers, Brian McIntyre and Red Spikes, Lee Saulier said, whatever you do, don't let them out hustle you. Don't let them outwork you. So that's why I fought back, even with the blood and everything. I just fought back, and then once I got them off me, then I went back to boxing again, and sticking them from the outside.
Well, talk to me about your cut. Firstly, how is it healing up?
It's healing up well. It's healing up well. It's healing up well. It's not as bad as it looked on TV, as you can see. I honestly, this is probably the first time in a long time that I actually been through a fight and my body overall doesn't ache, and I'm not feeling too much of the effects from the fight, and I'm just happy just to be home in one piece. Well, almost in one piece.
Was it a concern for you when the cut did happen? Just did you have any kind of thoughts about what happened in the Aquando fight? Did anything like that run through your mind?
No, because I know what happened in the O'Connell fight. Like I mentioned before, and I believe Alexander Povetkin kind of said the same thing in his recent outing. That COVID, it does take effect. It does take a huge, tremendous effect on your body. And I just wasn't like Carl Frampton is 10 times a better fighter than Okendo, but it seemed like I was more of the I didn't react well to the punches in the Okendo fight compared to the Frampton fight. Carl caught me with some good, clean, right hands, but as you seen, it didn't shake me up. It didn't shake me up. I shook it off. If anything, it woke me up, and it just told me just to fight back, fight back. With the Okendo fight, it was just like everything was just off, and it was just it was just a rough night. And then dealing with with the headbutting and things of that nature. It was just rough. But I knew that that wasn't me, and that's why, like I said, I had some you know, not just in my eyes, but the eyes of everyone watching, that I had some redeeming to do, and just to prove that I'm better. I'm better than what they say I am.
Jamel, I know you've spoken about the stoppage with other outlets, but just for ourselves, what did you make of it? Did you not just did you feel it was the right decision, but certainly, a lot of people have credited Jamie Moore for, taking it
Right.
out of Carl's hands and throwing the towel in there, because at that point it was again, it was physically, everybody could see the pain that maybe Carl was going through, and he wasn't quite bare when you was piling on the
Yeah.
pressure before the stoppage.
Um. No, I thought Jamie did the right thing. I thought Jamie did the right thing at the time, which was say protect his fighter, especially in the recent years we seen too many athletes get hurt, and that's why you kind of even seen. I seen when Jamie was standing up. I seen there's people because some people was like kind of like saying like um why did I turn my back? I seen Jamie getting up with the tower. When I threw that left hand and it kind of shook Carl, I seen him get up. I could have easily just followed up with a right hand, but there was no point. I don't believe in causing more damage than I have to, especially with a guy I admire and respect in Carl Frampton. There was just no need. He was already a defeated man, and like I said, I did my job, and I'm glad that Jamie did his, which was looking out for his fighter first. And I hope right now Carl is home, healing up. But more importantly, I hope he's recovering well, like, in terms of mentally, and everything's going. His motor skills and everything is going well together.
Jamal, talk to me about that mutual respect between not just yourself and Carl, but I've seen, your partner, and I've seen Carl's partner exchanging lovely like, tweets over social media as well. Talk to me
Oh,
about that.
like I said, that's nothing. Like I see a lot of myself from my own life here in the States with Carl Frampton's life out in Northern Ireland. We're both married. Jennifer, you know, it seemed like our wives got along really well. Even though we were on opposite sides of the opposite the ring, but like Jennifer understood where his wife was coming from in terms of wanting her husband to retire. Because a lot of that, when I was saying that with the O'Kenneth fight, that came from my family. Because for one, my wife, she wasn't too happy with the criticism I was taking. Like I said, she knew I was going through a lot with COVID, just trying to fight, and it was just a lot on me. And she's seen the same thing with Frampton's wife as well. And they just have all of it just have a mutual respect. And that's why I said at the press conference, like, I see we have a lot of similarities because, just like myself, he wants to get home to his wife and kids as well in one piece. And that's another reason why when I seen, like I said, when Jamie Moore had got up, with a towel in his hand, I kind of stepped off the gas because there was no. I mean, the fight was already won. There was no. What more do I get out of trying to permanently hurt someone? Yes, boxing is a brutal sport, but at the same time, I would say it's a sport nonetheless. So much respect to him and his wife. I hope you know he gets home with his own children, and he could just live his life happily as he could possibly imagine.
Jamal, we know Carl has announced his retirement, and obviously before the fight, I saw some quotes that you yourself said that if you wasn't successful, you'd have obviously considered stepping away from the sport. Now you don't need to. Now you've just produced what is a standout performance, and your name is on the lips and the tongues of many a fighter. What is next for you? Have you thought about where your career will go from here?
The next thing I want is I want the Valdez fight. Valdez has called me out. Well, not like not in a disrespectful manner, but he's called for the fight because he was closely watching, of course. I think maybe a day before after the weigh-in, he had put the video out, and I like Oscar. Oscar's a good guy. He's I always give him his credit. I believe he's the number one guy in the division right now. I'm not an egotistical guy like that, as you can see. He beat the guy that I've been chasing for the last 2 years since I had the belt. Since I won my title. We all know I wanted to fight Miguel Berchelt in a unification matchup, and he got to him before I did. And I give him all the respect in the world. If anything, you got to give him respect because people actually thought that he had less of a chance of beating Berchelt than I did against Carl Frampton. So if you really look at it, but I mean, so you know, I give him that respect. He went out. Not only did he win the fight, but he did it in impressive fashion, just the same way as I did. I handled my job with Carl Frampton, and I just think it's a good method for boxing. You know, this is what boxing needs. Boxing, you know, wants to see. It's sad we hate to say it's rare when you see champion versus champion, and for me, I know probably going into that fight again, I'll be the underdog. But you guys know I probably thrive better when I'm in that position anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. I just want to fight. You know, I have that old school mentality, that throwback mentality. Like, you know, a lot of these fighters, they always scream about getting the most buck for their, you know, for their work, which is okay. Boxing is the business, but I always believe also with the bigger fights, the money's gonna come anyway. So that's not the issue with me. You know, I have a great team with B&B Boxing, and MTK Global behind me anyway to take care of stuff like that. But I just want, you know, to, more importantly, that lineal title. There's too many world championships, as we know. So in order for you to stand out, you have to either unify or win that lineal world championship title to make you number one across the board. No matter what anyone says, you're number one in your weight class. And I believe also, if you really look at it with say if I, you know, fight Oscar Valdez and put on another dominating fashion win, that has to put me in the running for you know, fight of the year, especially coming from like the year I had in 2020. That would say a lot about, you know, me, who I am as a fighter. I never gave up myself in my career. I had a great 2019 where I got the comeback fighter of the year award. But imagine 2 years later getting the fighter of the year award. That'll be huge for me, and that's what I'm chasing.
Jamel, I've got to ask you as well about Shaka Stevenson, because I know he's been very vocal about wanting to face you
Right.
as your mandatory. Where do you think things will kind of land with that? Do you think that could end up being your next fight?
I don't know. I honestly don't know because you know, I love Shakur. He's a good guy. You know, he's he's hungry, and I respect his ambition. So it's nothing against Shakur or anything like that, but I believe he has time on his side. You know, with me, I want to go for the biggest, you know, the biggest goal I could possibly get right now that I have the chance in the moment. I mean, right now I'm at the door. Like, I don't want to risk giving that up, you know, and losing the opportunity. So I'm not saying that the fight with Shakur can happen, but right now I have you, as you can see, I have my mind set on, you know, just that lineal title. I want that Ring Magazine title. I want that, you know, I want, more importantly, who doesn't want another world championship? You know, I want to add all those, you know, those trinkets and credentials to my resume. So, you know, I'm with Top Rank. Oscar's with Top Rank. They, you know, both sides have expressed went to the fight. So, like, you know, and you can see, like, I mean, with my stablemate and good friend Errol Spence and Terrence, like, you know, it's hard getting those two at the table. If you have two champions that's willing to sit at the table and have the same promoter, you got to take advantage of that. So that's where my head is at.
Jamel, just a couple more from me before I leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. Firstly, how did you end up celebrating your win on Saturday night?
You know what I mean? It's funny because for starters, I walked to the ring around 1 a.m. in Dubai. So it was probably maybe, I think, and then I had to get stitched up after the fight. So I didn't get back to my hotel until maybe like three in the morning. But when I got to the hotel, I first seen Carl and his team in the lobby. And I just wanted to shake his hand. I just wanted to shake his hand and tell him thank you again, you know, for allowing me to share the ring with him. Yes, I was the champion, but you know, he's done so many tremendous things in the sport of boxing that, you know, I would say I was a fan. So I just wanted, like I said, I just wanted to just give him my, you know, my gratitude and show my love towards him. And you know, that's where you seen the picture pop up. And after that, I just pretty much just packed up my stuff and just got ready for my flight. So there's not much really celebrating, but I thought the celebration was enough for me with just getting my hand raised. You know, I'm not the type of guy who has to go out, you know, drink and go hit a club or something. No, I was happy enough just getting the win and just, you know, expressing, you know, what I felt to Carl about what he's done in the career of boxing, and that was good for me.
Jamel, there's just one thing I want to pick up on. You said, your ring walkers at 1 o'clock, the fight starting just after that. Kind of for yourself, how was that? How was that experience of having to go so late into the night?
It wasn't too much. It wasn't too bad, honestly, because sometimes even in the States, you'll get like main events that maybe start around like midnight. We've seen it. So it does get late. I've seen it with other fights. So, maybe an hour difference from when maybe go to the States was it was whatever, because at the end of the day, I was already focused. I was already channeled in. The fight could have happened 3 o'clock in the morning and I still would have been, up for it. I would have still found a way to do it, take care of business. So yeah, it was, like I said, then like you seen it, obviously it didn't show anything. I wasn't, any the time difference, anything like that showed up to the fight. So I didn't mind. I was just more happy that also that people around the world got to witness it. So that's all that mattered to me.
And Jamel, will you be making plans to come over to the UK and, of course, catching up with Carl and their team and what have you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was upset that I couldn't get over there to begin with. You guys know I wanted to go to Belfast to make the fight. Even when Frank Warren wanted to put the fight over in London, I was happy with that because you guys know I've been in London for 2012 Olympics. I love the city. I wanted to come. I wanted to come back. So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely will make time to travel overseas again. And like I said, I told Carl, maybe we can sit down, have some laughs, and become good friends over the years.
And Jamel, just a final word from yourself for all of your fans, for the new ones you've gained as well from this past weekend. What would you like to say to them from following your journey, supporting your journey, and continuing into this year?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything. I want to, especially the fans and supporters that's been following me my whole career, even through the ups and downs. I really appreciate you guys for sticking by me and believing in me. Those who know me know there will no fight. That wasn't me. And I'm actually also going to say I'm honored to the love and support I got from Frampton's fans, who became my fans. They've been very welcoming and very, very loving. And I appreciate that. And I just thank you.
Well, champ, it has been a pleasure to catch up with you, especially so soon after your fight. Enjoy some time off, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon. Hopefully, he's in person next time. Stay safe, mate, and thanks for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you, and thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.